Well, hey, it's Jen Harris once more, yet again, and still with a 10-minute take. I know I haven't done one of these in a minute, but I think with the current climate that your girl had to come in. Now, for those of you who have been under a rock for the last maybe week, we know that B.Simone is facing fish grease hot water for her stealing the content of her book. Now, those of you who have followed this platform for any length of time, and also my podcast, The Writer's Block, or shameless plug, have followed me on WordPress at Come Get Your Right Life, you know that I have a cardinal rule as it relates to writing. Now, writing is one of those professions where it only has there's a loose set of rules, but there's a set of expectations because this career is basically built on merit. It's built on merit. It's built on merit and the honor system. And what I like to call rule 0 is you don't steal from other writers. You don't. Whatever you create as a writer is yours and should be yours. No one should be stealing anything from you, and you should be stealing anything from anybody. So what has come out now is that this book that B.Simone wrote called Baby Girl, Manifest the Life You Want. It has come out now on the heels of her saying that she didn't want to do that work to 9 to 5. It's come out now that she has plagiarized the entire book. The entire book. The entire book does not possess one original idea from B.Simone. Now, as I sit here with my Stand With Black Women shirt, let me do this. One of the reasons why I do what I do is to empower minority writers, especially Black writers, especially Black female writers, right? That's one of the linchpins as to what I do, and how hard I go to do it. The fact that B.Simone is allegedly to have done this, I'm literally in awe. This profession, this industry makes meat out of consuming anything that Black writers create. Now, what do I mean by that? That means that anything that we put out, they either spit out or swallow, or because they ignore it. So you got to understand that going in, that you got to develop a thick skin and develop a thick skin quickly, because there will be some editors and even some platforms that you submit to that will tell you no and give you no reason why, or tell you no just because you're Black and female. It happens. There are stories, and there are some that try to take your idea and make it their own. So the fact that this is happening to B.Simone on the heels of her comment, I kind of find interesting. And the part of me that is fly-by-night investigative reporter thinks that, has she not come out with this statement about not wanting a dude who works a 9 to 5, would this even have been talked about? But with that being said, let me hit you the game right quick. As it relates to rule 0, you don't steal from other writers. You don't. That is a cardinal unwritten rule. Anything that you create, anything that goes from head to hand needs to come from you. Now, I know there are people who hire ghostwriters and things like that. That's not this. When what they are alleging that she did is that she took this woman's work, copied it, and pasted it, and put a cover on it and sold it. That's something totally different. A ghostwriter would have been instructed or would have been paid to say, look, you know what? This is what I'm paid to do. I'm going to create this. You're going to pay me, and nobody needs to know I wrote it. That's something totally different. So ghostwriting is something totally different than straight plagiarism. Okay? Let's get that together. Ghostwriting means that you give me, it's like an assignment at school. You give me an assignment, you give me the details by which you need, you give me my deadline, you give me my specs, and I create something for you and you pay me. and then you put your name on it. But I was hired to do that. So my intellectual property has now been paid for and given to you. Because again, that's what ghostwriters do. We create, we write it, and we give it to you. That's what we do. What the situation is alleging is that B.Simone and her team took this woman's work, slapped the cover on it, and sold it. Now that's plagiarism. That's out and out plagiarism. Okay, that's plagiarism. There is no other way around that. You cannot explain that away. The thing is, B.Simone came on her Instagram and apologized and said that she's the coach, she's the leader of this team, so she takes full responsibility. Yeah, you're supposed to. But let me hit you the game. In that particular video, she said 3 things that are really telling. She said that 1, she had never written a book before. 2, she had her team outsource, which is really coded language for she didn't write nothing. She didn't supervise them while they were doing it. She had her team outsource and get material for this book. And the last thing she said is she didn't give final approval. All of those things are bad. I can't even express to you how bad those are. You cannot say ever, if you're going to write a book, that you're going to outsource to other people what your vision is, because then things like this happen. Things like this happen. This could have been avoided had she just exercised a little bit of common sense. If she had come in and said, you know what, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is my target audience. These are the things I want in this book. Look, how are we going to put this together? How can we get this together? What will this look like as we get this together? Again, if you're going to be the leader of a team, if you're going to be the writer, if you're going to be the HBIC, if, as Tiffany Pollard, aka New York, would say, you need to be on your, you just do. And there's also this expectation that, again, as a minority writer, that you already have to understand the stakes set for your project. You have to understand what's at risk, because the publishing industry and this particular arena of writers, especially as you begin to disseminate, Black women writers, white women writers, Black queer writers, as you begin to break these things down, the more narrow your wiggle room is. So you can't come out and say that you had never written a book, you didn't know what to do. It's too many things out here for her to have found herself in this position. I don't feel bad for her. I do not feel bad that this is happening to her, because this could have been avoided. This could have been totally avoided. This is one of those things, this is self-inflicted. This is totally self-inflicted. Because again, as a minority writer, you have to understand that you can't just come out here and bust out here and take people's work. Now, I understand that, she's taking responsibility for that now, and Meek Mill caping for her. We understand that. But B.Simone, let me hip you the game right quick. You can't do this ever again. You can't do this ever again. You can't be in a position where you don't know what your team is doing, where you have no control over the vision. Now, what I mean by control over the vision? Control meaning you don't know what folk are doing and gonna put your name on it. You can't do that ever again. Take this as a learning experience, yes, but also take this as an L. But the grace in that L is now you know what not to do. You don't take from other writers. And now, again, this woman is suing her because she stole her stuff. And she should sue her. Now, I'm not going to jump out here and say that she need to be canceled. No, she need to be taught. Because the next time you write a book, you need to have some people around you that know what they're doing. Because what you have now is this surge of people who want to latch onto a pretty face, who want to latch onto an influencer, latch onto a budding writer, and then push them on a trajectory that would ensure that they make money, but there's no integrity there. And now we see that the book has been taken off all platforms. So now your bag is compromised because you didn't look at the people around you. So the takeaways from this, again, do your research, ask your questions, focus on your vision, and always, always, always look over it. If it is not what you want, start over. And be bold enough to say, this is not what I want. This is not what I asked for. This is not what I'm paying you to do. Do it again. That's Boss Moves. Happy writing.